Greetings, citizens of the factory. I am Super Diva, and I am here to welcome you to the new year, 2021, and to a new lesson plan for the factory. So, you know about superheroes, like people like me, Super Diva, who are very strong, athletic, we save people. Well, you will be learning about how to have superhero faith. You know, God can give you everything that a superhero has, regardless of where you start. But before we get into these lessons, let's start off this week with a little praise and worship. Are you ready? Got your space? Got everybody down there by TV? Okay, I'm watching you. But until then, I have to go save the world. See ya. Hi everyone, it's Miss Dina here, and I am so excited to be able to be with you today. Today we are starting our new curriculum or lesson plan regarding superhero faith. Like, who doesn't like superheroes? But wouldn't you like your faith to be as strong as a superhero? So we're going to be learning about all the different traits of a superhero and how we can apply it to our faith. So today we're going to start off with the origin stories. Origin is just a big word for where you started from, right? So if you are truly a superhero fan, I'm going to go through a few little quick heroes that you may know, and let's see how many you can guess. Number one, my mother and father were very rich. One night we went out to the movies or to the theater. On our way home, a thief held us up at gunpoint. My parents were killed right in front of me, And at their funeral, I fell into a cave that was full of creatures that flew. I decided to become one of them. I would become someone that criminals feared in my town, and I would defend them, my city that is, from evil. Who am I? You got it? If you said Batman, you are correct. Give yourself a high five, a hoorah, a star, whatever you're gonna do. So number 2. This is one that you probably know because I'm gonna go ahead and say she's been on the TVs for a little while now. So this person, the story goes for her that she was sculpted from clay by her mother and was given life to live as an Amazon woman, meaning she's very tall and strong. She has a lasso of truth and a pair of bracelets that defend her from any of the bullets or anything that the bad guys have. She came to Earth as a way to continue her country's traditions and legacy. Who is she? If you said Wonder Woman, you get a high five from me. She is one of my favorite superheroes. Love Wonder Woman. Okay, last one. Let's see if you can get this one. Again, probably something that you have seen, maybe not, we'll see. So this person is from Earth, but they haven't been here in a long time. His mother told him that his father was an angel. After she passed away, a spaceship kidnapped him. He became a thief, helping his adopted father and a gang of people steal money. Later on, he partnered with a few other bandits, one being a rodent who could shoot a gun and a walking tree that only says their name. Who is this person? Do you know the name? Do you know the movie? That is Star-Lord from the Guardians of the Galaxy. So if you got those, pretty good. You know your superheroes. So like I said, we're gonna start off talking about origin stories. And in this lesson for this week, what we're focused on is God can use you in super ways. There's a plan and purpose for everyone's life. So God has that plan and that purpose, and all you have to do is follow him and let him lead the way. So where we're going to be in the Bible is in the Old Testament, which, we know there's 2 parts, right? The Old Testament, New Testament. So in the Old Testament, we're going to be in Exodus, and we're going to be in chapter 2, 1 through 10. And we're going to be talking about the birth of Moses. I am going to be reading this from, again, Exodus 2, 1 through 10, from the New King James Version. And a man of the house of Levi went and took as wife a daughter of Levi. So the woman conceived and bore a son. And when she saw that he was a beautiful child, she hid him 3 months. But when she could no longer hide him, she took an ark of bulrushes for him, daubed it with asphalt and pitch, put the child in it, and laid it in the reeds by the river's bank. And his sister stood afar off to know what would be done to him. Then the daughter of Pharaoh came down to bathe at the river, and her maidens walked along the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the reeds, she sent her maid to get it. And when she opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the baby wept. So she had compassion on him and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children." When his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go to call a nurse for you from the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for you?" And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Go." So the maiden went and called the child's mother. Then Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child away and nurse him for me, and I will give you your wages." So the woman took the child and nursed him. And the child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. So she called his name Moses, because I drew him out of the water. So, awesome story. So, background, Moses was born during a time when the king was ready to kill children of Hebrews, because there was already a story, a prophecy out there that there would be one to lead them out of their situation, which was slavery. The Hebrews were working for the Egyptians free of charge, working very hard, and that wasn't what God had planned for them. But God did have a plan for them to get out of it, and it was Moses. So in this story, Moses' parents meet, he's born, but the mom, knowing that the king or the Pharaoh will be upset, hid him from 3 months. But it got to a point where she couldn't hide him anymore, right? I mean, you're getting bigger, you want to cry more, you want to be able to play more. So she knew she couldn't hide him anymore. So she put him in a basket and put him in the river, and basically knowing that God would protect him. So as he goes down the river, his sister is watching the whole time. God had this plan the entirety of his life, right? He knew what was going to happen, but the sister was curious and wanted to see what was going to happen. So as he floats down the river, he comes across Pharaoh's daughter, who basically took him in as her own son. I mean, who would have thought? The people who were slaves, basically, one of them has a child, and they become part of the royal family, Pharaoh's family, and they're in the house of this greatness, but your family is really slaves. And the best part of it is when we're talking about how his sister is talking to Pharaoh's daughter, and she's kind of like, well, do you need somebody to nurse him and take care of him? She goes back and she gets her mom. I mean, come on, people, superhero story. I mean, who would ever think that not only did his mom send him to safety, but she still got to raise him? Isn't that an awesome story? I mean, God has a plan for each and every one of us, and all we got to do is look to him, trust him, and keep believing in him, and he will make a way when it seems like there is no way out. I mean, you know the story, right? Maybe you don't. Well, Pharaoh ends up growing up, makes a bad choice, runs away. God finds him where he is, brings him out, and he literally takes his people out of slavery in some of the most amazing stories ever told. I mean, he splits the Red Sea. I mean, water is cleared and people can walk across. I mean, we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about it later. But here I am to tell you that superhero faith doesn't matter where you start from. Everybody has a starting point. Let's just keep walking it out. So as we get ready to do a little bit of crafting, let's start thinking about, what do you think Moses's comic book would look like? I mean, most superheroes have a comic book, right? You know comic books. Well, maybe you don't. So here are some comic books for you to look at as you get your supplies. Maybe you want some markers, some pens, or something like that. Whatever you want to do to make your own comic book cover that is going to symbolize Moses' story. Okay, so I have some paper. I have some markers, crayons, and pencils. Now remember, this is what you think Moses's comic book would look like. So it doesn't have to be exactly what I did. I'm going to show you an example of what I think Moses's comic book cover would look like. So first of all, every good comic book has to have the name of the character, right? So I'm going to start off with some block letters. I mean, you guys are probably better artists than I am, but Miss Dina is just trying to do what she knows how to do best. So you're going to put the name of your character somewhere on there. Again, this is all about what you can do and how you think Moses' comic book cover should look like. So there's his name. And so now I'm going to start my picture. So for me, the best part of God's plan for Moses was when his mom made the decision to send him down the river. So I'm putting the river on mine. Color in my water. And then I always imagine that there have to be like a lot of brush and like leaves around, because when you go out to lakes and even the beach, there's always like these areas where there's like all this grass and stuff. So I'm just putting in green everywhere on the sides. And then, of course, a major part is his basket. So I'm going to put a basket on the water. And make sure it has a handle so we can get them out. And then because purple is my favorite color, we're going to go ahead and give him a purple blanket. And then we got to put him in there, so I'm going to just show his head. And we got to give him some hair. Maybe that brown too. And then I'm going to actually use my colored pencils to kind of give him a face. So let's do black. No, it's actually blue. Doesn't matter. So we're going to give him one like little eye and then a little smile. Moses is happy. Okay, so that's Moses on the river, but let's do a little bit extra because we have to be colorful, right? So I'm going to use my purple again, color in my letters. And it, you can be in a lines, but if you look at some comic book covers, it's all up to the artist. Sometimes it can be like perfectly colored in, and sometimes it can be like, you see how I have like the white coming through just to give some excitement to it. So I think I'm going to do it like that. But the one thing I'm thinking I need to add is I want to use my crayon to kind of add like a little, like what's this actual comic book about? So I'm going to write on here in crayon, God's plan. So when you pick up this episode, or this comic book, that, hey, that's Moses. He's on the water, and this is all part of God's plan. So, however you think Moses' comic book may look, that's up to you. It's a nice little easy craft to do. Anybody can do it. Share it with us. Let us see how it goes for you. I'm curious to see what you guys think his comic book would look like. So before we close out this week's lesson, I have a little activity for you all. So this is a birth certificate. They come in different sizes, different colors. It all kind of depends on where you were born. So what I challenge you guys to do this week is, as a family, sit down and pull out some birth certificates. Pull out the kids, mom and dad, whoever's around, pull out a birth certificate and talk about your origin story. Now, the birth certificate has some basic information, right? Like the day you were born, where you were born, your full name, first, middle, last name. It even tells you, like, whether you're boy or girl. Sometimes it has how much you weighed on there. But share the stories about like what happened on the days. That could be pretty interesting to find out, like what happened the day your mom went into labor, the day she had you. What was your dad doing? Maybe what was the family doing? Sometimes there's really good stories about your origin story that you may not know, which we can use to kind of set the stage on how our faith is going to be super. Like how we were born may actually be part of what's going to make us that super person. God had a plan about how you're going to be born and then how you're going to live out the life. So in closing, let's go to our new memory verse. It is in Psalm 62 and it's verse 7. I'll be reading out of the NIV version. Psalm 62 verse 7. It reads, I depend on God to save me and to honor me. He is my mighty rock and my place of safety. Hope you guys enjoyed this lesson and are ready for more superhero faith. See you next time.